What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, 8th Division, legendary world champion, superstar, Filipino, iconic boxer, Manny Pacquiao. He confirms that he did have talks with legendary promoter, top-ranked CEO, Bob Arum, about a possible showdown with undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the WBO welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Terence Bud Crawford. He states that he has all intentions of fighting a world champion in his next fight, that being Terence Crawford. Now, that truly doesn't add up because Manny Pacquiao was the WBA welterweight world champion, and he was stripped of the title due to inactivity and not wanting to defend the title against an opponent in the top 10 of the WBA ranking systems. And he had geared his attention to fighting UFC legendary iconic superstar Conor McGregor, but that fell through as Conor McGregor was knocked out in his rematch with Dustin Poirier. And the WBA had informed Manny Pacquiao that if he did proceed forward with that Conor McGregor fight, that they would strip him. Then it seemed as if he geared his attention towards undefeated lightweight Mexican superstar title contender King Ryan Garcia, who's 22 years of age, who had one significant fight in his entire career. That was his last fight against Olympic gold medalist, British superstar lightweight title contender Luke Campbell, in which he showed a lot of flaws. He was flawed in the second round. He got up, he got the stoppage victory in the 7th round, but he showed a lot of flaws, a lot of youth, right? He doesn't have much experience. And now that fell through, okay? And according to Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Promotions CEO, he states that Manny Pacquiao and his team have now refused to even respond back to any contact they try to make with them. So that is no longer on the table. So now he's stating that he wants to fight a world champion, but he had the opportunity when he was the WBA champion to go in a unification bout, which would have been a massive showdown with undefeated unified WBC, IBF, welterweight world champion superstar boxer Errol the True Spence Jr., who's both have ties with PBC, Premier Boxing Champions, and advisor and founder Al Heyman. So with that said, Manny Pacquiao seemed not to want to go in that direction, and now he's made it abundantly clear he truly doesn't want to fight Terence Crawford. Why? Because Manny Pacquiao has now upped his price from 20 to 25 million to now 40 million. You got it. Manny Pacquiao is asking Bob Arum for $40 million to fight against Terence Bud Crawford. And he states that Manny Pacquiao, according to the reports, Terence Crawford would get $10 million and Manny Pacquiao would get 40. Well, Terence Crawford, he just came out yesterday and he stated that he would not fight against Errol Spence Jr. because a 60-40 split in favor of Errol Spence Jr. is not suffice in his world. So that's not good enough. That's not going to get it done. So he has no intention of fighting Errol Spence. And then he states that it'll never happen unless it's a 50-50 deal on the table, equally split. Well, now we know that Errol Spence Jr. is the bigger star. So Errol Spence Jr. is demanding a bigger slice of the purse, okay? A bigger percentage of the purse. So it doesn't look like that fight is going to come to fruition. And that's the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. So with that said, Manny Pacquiao asking for $40 million and Terence Crawford gets 10. Well, that's a long ways off from the 60-40 split offered by Errol Spence Jr., okay? So we know that that's not going to happen, right? If Terence Crawford doesn't feel like 60-40 is suffice, we know 40 million to Manny Pacquiao and 10 million to Terence Crawford is not going to get it done. So it seems like Manny Pacquiao truly doesn't have much interest in fighting Terence Crawford. It seems like Manny Pacquiao doesn't have much interest in facing off against Errol the True Spence Jr. either. And it seems like Manny Pacquiao at this point in time is just looking to cash out. He's ascending over in the Philippines. Manny Pacquiao at this point in time helps a lot of people. And I believe that he's looking for the revenue to be able to uphold him helping so many different people, right? $40 million to Manny Pacquiao and $10 million to Terence Crawford is not going to get it done. Like I stated, if Terence Crawford wasn't willing to take a 60-40 split in favor of Errol Spence, and we see the numbers, the proof is in the pudding that Errol Spence is the biggest star, he's not willing to do that unless it's 50-50. We know he's not going to do a 70-30 split in favor of Manny Pacquiao, no matter the fact that Manny Pacquiao is a legend and he's the far bigger proven star. He's an 8 division champion. You know, he's done huge pay-per-views. He and Floyd Mayweather hold the record for the biggest pay-per-view in the history of sport of boxing. So he's, you know, he's historic in the sport of boxing. He's an icon. But there's no way Terence Crawford is going to take that split. So Terence Crawford, in my opinion, would be favored to win that fight against Manny Pacquiao. Terence Crawford's style, I believe, is all wrong for Manny Pacquiao, even in Manny Pacquiao's prime, you know, absolute prime. We know now that Terence Crawford would be 33 years of age September 28th, and Manny Pacquiao is now 42 years of age, okay? So currently, right now, as it stands, Manny Pacquiao is 10 years older than Terence Bud Crawford. Well, they're about 9 years difference, because Terence Crawford will be 33 this year. Okay, so with that said, Manny Pacquiao is significantly older than Terence Crawford, but stylistically, Terence Crawford is a finisher. Okay, Errol Spence, he will outbox you. He'll put a lot of pressure on you. He'll attempt to walk you down, but ultimately, Errol Spence's goal is to get the victory. Terence Crawford's goal is to make a statement. So Terence Crawford is absolutely going in there to knock out Manny Pacquiao and make a huge statement, right? And so I believe his style, it'll give Manny Pacquiao a lot of openings, right, to have success. And I believe Manny Pacquiao will have success. But the fact that Terence Crawford also can switch from southpaw to orthodox fluidly, he can translate from offense to defense and defense to offense fluidly. And he's a power puncher. He has power in both hands. I believe that they understand that that's a terrible matchup for Manny Pacquiao, and they understand that that possibly could be Manny Pacquiao's last fight in his career, and they're looking to get the biggest payout possible that they could get to be able to, you know, fit the bill for the future of Manny Pacquiao moving forward, because then at that point in time, he will go solely into retirement and will then just be dependent on his savings and, you know, what he's making forward, you know, as a Senate. So I believe that, you know, Manny Pacquiao, this is just confirmation, in my opinion, that Manny Pacquiao is not looking to have competitive fights. He did state on his social media that he entered back in training camp, and he's looking to, you know, add to his legacy. You know, he wants the big fights in his career. He wants to prove that he's still the best. I don't believe that at all whatsoever. I believe that that's a part of Manny Pacquiao that wants to still be the best. Obviously, he's going to go into the fight looking to win the fight. Obviously, Manny Pacquiao believes he can win. But like I said, ultimately, I believe that Manny Pacquiao is looking to cash out at this point in time. And I believe that Manny Pacquiao understands that it's a huge risk and a huge gamble going up against Terence Crawford with his style. Terence Crawford is a fluid boxer as well. He could box you from the outside, and he's very rangy. Those are the type of fighters with educated foot speed and foot placement. Those are the type of fighters that give Manny Pacquiao tons and tons of trouble. And Terence Crawford, who can fluidly switch from orthodox to southpaw, he would be a huge issue for Manny Pacquiao, because Manny Pacquiao's awkwardness, his angles would not be much of an issue for Terence Crawford. It would be more so the other way around. And Terence Crawford being 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Now, we know he struggled with the range and the distance of Floyd Mayweather and the foot speed and the foot placement of Floyd Mayweather. And Floyd Mayweather is 5'8" with a 72-inch arm reach. So Terence Crawford has 2-inch arm reach advantage over Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather enjoyed a 5-inch arm reach advantage over Manny Pacquiao. That means Terence Crawford would enjoy a 7-inch arm reach advantage over Manny Pacquiao, and he's youthful, okay? Floyd Mayweather, again, like Errol Spence Jr., they're looking to get the victory. They'll put pressure on you. They want to land accurate punches. They're going to control the distance, control the pace, and then ultimately the goal is to get the victory. Styles make fights. Different fighters call for different, conclusions. Terence Crawford at that point in time is looking from the beginning to close the show. He's not looking to just get the victory. He's looking to make a statement. That's the difference between Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, and Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather. Okay, they're looking to get the victory, get out of there, and on to the next. Terence Crawford is looking to make a statement. He has a mindset of it could be him or it's going to be you, and that's a bad thing when you're dealing with somebody that has the abilities of Terence Crawford in there with Manny Pacquiao. So this is a clear-cut indication that Manny Pacquiao is no bearings on trying to fight Errol Spence or Terence Crawford unless he can absolutely cash out to the max of his of his revenue. So with that said, Terence Crawford, we got to see what's next, because Terence Crawford, he just stated that he's not looking to fight Errol Spence. He don't believe it'll ever happen. Now we know two-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Sean Porter, he has activated his mandatory position, so he's looking to land a fight against Terence Crawford. That would be a huge fight for Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is also going to be a free agent in October of this year, so there's a lot to be desired and see what happens with Terence Crawford. There's a lot of intrigue what's going to happen moving forward with Terence Crawford. There's talks that Terence Crawford is looking to fight Virgil Ortiz Jr. Should Virgil Ortiz Jr. beat a good friend of Terence Crawford, a stablemate of Terence Crawford, in Maurice Hooker, who was once the WBO junior welterweight world champion turned welterweight, right? He lost to Jose Ramirez. So now that fight is set to take place, that being Maurice Hooker versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. And Virgil Ortiz Jr. is the favorite going into the fight, as he should be. He's the bigger guy. He's undefeated. He's younger. Maurice Hooker is 31 years of age, but Maurice Hooker has a lot of range. 27 wins, 1 loss, 3 draws on his resume, 18 wins by way of knockout. He stands at 5'11" with an 80-inch arm reach. Okay, so it looks like he's on the verge of facing Virgil Ortiz. That looks like the date of that fight is going to be March 20th, and they already begin talks, according to Oscar De La Hoya, to stage a Virgil Ortiz Terence Crawford fight should Virgil Ortiz beat Maurice Hooker. So you can expect to see Terence Crawford versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. or Showtime Sean Porter in his next fight. But Manny Pacquiao is absolutely pricing himself out. But that's all I got for y'all. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Raw. Make sure you like and share your videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.